Welcome back to the program. Ghana has signed a €16 million financing agreement with the German Development Corporation to finalize a process of becoming a member of the African Trade Insurance Agency. Deputy Minister of Finance Charles Edouard, who initiated the agreement for Ghana, expressed confidence that the development will reduce the country's risk of borrowing. Yes, Ebenezer Sabote's report.
Ghana will obtain an insurance cover of about $4 billion as it becomes a member of the African Trade Insurance Agency. Deputy Minister of Finance Charles Edouard outlines the impacts of this insurance cover on the country.
Investors will replace the government's guarantee with an ATI insurance product or an ATI guarantee, which means that government will not have to incur a contingent liability to these amounts sitting on its books that can be called upon at any time. And the risk and the insurance would have been moved from government onto the hands of a private sector or a multilateral agency, which can then, step in and play the role that it should play in terms of making the environment more comfortable and less risky for investors to come in. So I think that's the main aim. The main purpose of something like this is that it lowers the level of risk. It allows investors to have more confidence in coming in because they have insurance that if anything was to go bad, they can call upon it.
Acting Chief Executive of the African Trade Insurance Agency, John Letain, disclosed that the agency is ready to support trade transactions by government.
A standing portfolio guaranteeing trade and investment across the continent. A little bit in Ghana, but now that Ghana's completed full membership, I can say with certainty that we will be supporting significant volumes of trade and investment here, probably close to $1 billion within even 12 to 18 months. It is a kind of geeky technical thing what we do, but effectively we're de-risking the full spectrum of debt and or equity investments in our member states. So if you think about an equity investor, say someone building a factory here, they're always worried, and it's not just true of Ghana, in any country, is the government going to honour my contract? So one of the things we can do is give them that certainty from an outside party to honour the contract, that it won't be messed with, and effectively that allows long-term investment to flow, because investors fundamentally want long-term certainty.
The fund will help provide investment opportunities for the private sector.
Head of Cooperation at the EU office in Ghana, Zoltan Agai, says programs are being initiated and supported to boost export margins into EU markets. This follows Ghana recording a 48% rise in export levels in 2018 alone. Ghana is part of West African countries taking part in the West Africa Competitiveness Program. The program equips participating markets to improve upon raw materials to make more returns in exports. Speaking at a stakeholders engagement, Zoltan Agai pledged full support for the country's export initiatives.
Ghana has been picked out as a priority market in the West Africa Competitiveness Program after recorded impressive performance in exports to the European market in 2018 alone across the agribusiness value chain. The program, which is a partnership initiative between the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the European Union, EU, saw Ghana record an export volume worth €3.1 billion to the European market in 2018, accounting to a 48% increase from 2017. Here's Head of Cooperation of the EU, Zoltan Agai.
Ghana has a strong potential to increase its agribusiness exports, sharing the regional but also continental and international markets. And the EU is there to support the country in this endeavor. The EU is one of the strongest trade and investment partners of Ghana. In 2018, Ghana exported €3.1 billion of goods to the EU market, which is a 48% increase from the previous year.
Charles Kwame Sake is the Chief Technical Advisor of the West Africa Competitiveness Program in Ghana. He projects a higher performance in exports once the 4-year WACOM program is completed.
Usually we say, oh, this is for Ghana and this is for the European market. But now you have to know it right from the beginning so that your product can be competitive anywhere you want to go.
At the initial stages, how has Ghana performed?
Well, the initial stage, I think Ghana is doing well. There are a few companies that would say are already on this track, they are having the standards. And we think that this project also coming on, helping a lot more producers to conform to standards and producing more, we should be able to contribute to increase from 3.1 to something. We may have an X figure at the end of this year or next year. I mean, we are just in the inception phase.
Wacom is funded through a €120 million contribution from the Regional Indicator Program for West Africa under the 11th European Development Fund. In Ghana, the program is implemented by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, in coordination with Ghana's Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Amakwa High Court has dismissed the Bank of Ghana's application seeking to strike out a case filed by UniCredit challenging the revocation of its license. The judge, George Kumsin, ruled that the jurisdiction of the High Court has been properly invoked in the matter and adjourned to the 16th of October. Ebenezer Sabote was in court today and reports.
These costs against the Bank of Ghana to be paid to savings and loans companies UniCredit and CDH. This was after presiding judge George Kumsin ruled that it had jurisdiction to determine the case brought before it by the two complainants. The court further gave the lead counsel for the Bank of Ghana, Frank Davies, 3 days to file a response to an application brought by owners of UniCredit Savings and Loans. It sought the withdrawal of the revocation of the company's license. Presiding Judge Justice George Kumsin, in his ruling, stated that the jurisdiction of the High Court has been properly evoked in the matter and adjourned the case to 17th of October. Attempt by the lawyer for the Bank of Ghana to seek for a waiver of costs, stating that the matter is in a national interest, was not granted. The mother company of UniCredit Savings and Loans Company, Hoda Holdings Limited, in August 2019, sued Dr. Ernest Addison, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, for revoking the license of the company. In the company's affidavit filed at the Human Rights Division of the High Court on Monday, Hoda Holdings said its funds of over 54 million Ghana cedis was locked up with the Unibank before it was forced to cease operations by the central bank in 2018 and has since been trying to retrieve it. Meanwhile, the case between the Bank of Ghana and GN Savings and Loans was also adjourned to September 16 after the respondents, including the receiver Eric Nipa, confirmed they have been properly served with the applicants' writs.
Now, in the face of climate change and rapid industrialization, the Sekondi Takoradi Chamber of Commerce and Industry has called on government to provide incentives to companies that innovate and adopt new technologies to ensure sustainable environment. Chairman of the chamber, Atuvane, says the move will promote responsible and sustainable use of environmental resources. He was speaking after the 2019 Ghana Industry Safety Conference organized by the chamber there, looking at climate change and occupational health and safety.
The issue of climate change will still be addressed, and we are finding ways to put climate change in whatever we do. You know, previously we had 3 days conference. Now we are having 2 days. We want to revisit the 3-day conference and make climate change work as part of the 3rd day, because we need to be talking about climate change, not just as industry, but as a nation. And as adults, we need to be much more concerned about what is happening to us now, what's going to happen to our children, and what's going to happen to the next generation. We just have to, otherwise, if we don't care about the next generation, then why are we even reproducing? Why are we working in the first place? So we felt that this is the beginning of the journey of STTCI talking about climate change. It's not going to end. We are going to go with it. Yeah. Interestingly, STCI is not looking at just the large organizations. We are looking at even the SMEs. Because if you look at economic production in Ghana or economic productivity in Ghana, we have a lot of SMEs. And SMEs, look at SMEs' contribution to the GDP. They are contributing about over 90% of employment. So it means that most economic activities are with the SMEs. So we are even looking at the SMEs. How do we bring climate change to the doorsteps of the SME? How do we get them to understand? How do we get the watch seller, the cocoa seller, the the carpenter, the welder? How do we get all these artisans, these workers to understand what climate change is? And the fact that however insignificant the actions may be, they still add up to the entire climate change, that global change or global warming or climate change that we are talking about. So we believe that education And of course, education also comes with cost. How do we find a very nice way, a very cost-effective way of...
All right, we hear next from former Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, convener of Industry Safety Conference, Dr. Tony Obeng, who is commending the Sekondi Takoradi Chamber of Commerce for sustaining the conference for about 5 years since its inception. He noted that the fight against climate change has not been taken seriously.
We have given sort of lip services, but the real action has been lacking. And this is time, given what we are seeing now, given the huge, if you watched what happened in Bahamas not long ago, you would marvel, you would wonder what human beings are doing to this world. If you saw what happened when the hurricanes occur in the U.S., fortunately Ghana and some part of Africa, we have been, God has protected us out of that. But you never know, it's not the end of it, If we don't start doing the right things now, we'll be here and all these things will happen. So I think regulation has a lot to do in ensuring that we improve on, we do not contribute to the further deterioration of the climate.
You're watching Business Live. We are moving on now. Business owners and members of Stanford Seed Transformation Network have met at a conference in Accra to share their experiences and challenges faced in their quest to grow long-lasting businesses that can scale up in Africa. According to various speakers, Ghana's business environment has been hostile and undermining business success. There is more in this report.
Several business owners, including entrepreneurs from other African countries, were present at Stanford Seed Transformation Network Business Conference to share their experiences in doing business in the country and beyond. CEO of defunct UT Holdings, Prince Kofi Amwabing, highlighted Ghana's harsh business environment pushes decent people out of business.
When it comes to the business environment, we've not been in before that. We hate people who are upstanding. Even in the classroom, if you're too bright, it's a bookworm. He doesn't like people. I can't say it's even juju that you used to learn. In business, if somebody is working too hard, papa there, we're too no, because we're not cut out to work hard to get what we want. We're cut out to use our connections to get what we want. So the environment is very, very, very harsh. And we shouldn't think of it lightly. If you think about it lightly, you will fail. And I'm saying so. So you can take it. Now, how do you then scale up with these kind of people I've described, where we come from, and so on and so forth? I want you to always keep that in perspective, the African advantages that we've had from God.
CEO of Home Foods Processing and Cannery Limited, Felicia Chumesi, shared her worst experience of doing business in Ghana. She laments a time where her exports were deliberately contaminated.
I have some mates, we all went to business school. At that time, they were running $30 million turnover, and in that class, I was the smallest. They are still increasing their growth. But you live in an environment whereby every year your net worth reduces. Am I right or wrong? Due to inflation. It's become very difficult. So if you don't have the right skills, the right assets, the right capabilities to grow, it's very difficult. The bank can give you all the money, and we know we don't have long-term finance in this country, which is also a very difficult situation that we are in. Because when I built this business, and I had only middle and unskilled staff, we were doing very fine. We were doing very fine. Capital is very, very expensive here, we all know. And then scaling up, you need resources.
President of Stanford Seed Network, Constance Swanika, advised entrepreneurs to be talented and not only concentrate on obtaining credit.
For us members in the STN, choosing the theme scaling the difficult environments was very appropriate, because as business owners, these are challenges that we face every day. And I think it's so cliche when people think that it's all capital. But as you can hear, for us, one of the main challenges that we face is talent.
Fred Duhu's report for Joy Business.
All right, we want to link up one more time with my colleague Sandra, who is in the US for the Guba Awards. Let's see if we can, technology will smile on us this time as we look ahead to the event. Sandra, if you can hear me, just for those who are curious, what is this event all about?
All right, and you're right. Thanks so much for having me, Darryl. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so you know the Ghana business UK-based awards has been in existence for the past 10 years now, and mainly was being organized in the UK. But this time around, after 10 years, they've decided to move it to the United States. And tonight, a lot of trailblazers in the business space will be rewarded for their various roles in the business space. Now, the award to be held in Manhattan, and this year also the addition to it is that they've added a Blaster Award that is going to honor people who have really done well coming back home to establish businesses in Ghana. But what does this all really mean for businesses in Ghana? You know, it's a year of return, and a lot of people are looking forward to coming back to establish businesses in Ghana. So Guba is looking at this opportunity to actually dialogue with the business community here in the United States and in the UK as well, to actually lure them back to Ghana so that they can partner businesses. And this year, let me add that they are focusing on the SDGs Goal 17, which has to do with revitalizing global partnerships. So it's all about partnership, how people who live abroad, Ghanaians who are doing so well in other countries, how they can get back home to partner local businesses so that they can also stand on their feet. And I've been speaking to the president of Guba, who is Denta Moaten, who has been telling me that when it comes to businesses in Ghana, a lot of people are talking about, okay, we don't have money, and banks are not ready to lend to us. So they want to use this opportunity to tell a lot of businesses, local businesses, that it's not always about money, but global partnership is key. And once they partner the right people who are doing great work in the business space elsewhere, they can also make giant strides.
Interesting. This is coming at a time that, latest stats from AGWA revealed that there's a dwindle when it comes to trade. But I want to ask you about the people attending, because I've seen the list, and these are some high-profile people.
Right. You're right, Darryl. The president of Ghana will be in attendance. That's the President Akufo-Addo. We also have 4 other presidents from Africa who will also be in attendance. And businesses, I said earlier on, from the UK and the US will all be gathering today to see how to foster forward when it comes to global partnership. All right.
Sandra Sefoji there, thanks very much indeed. We'll be coming back to you for more once that event gets underway. Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority's task force on tax stamp education and enforcement exercise in Kumasi clashed with some shop owners who claim they are unaware of the regime. The policy introduced 2 years ago requires traders to affix tax stamps on domestic and imported goods. GRA says it is intensifying education and enforcement with shop-to-shop inspection. Besides, it is reviewing its town hall meeting approach to focus on group and individual stakeholder engagement. Nanasa Sumensa has more in this report.
The Excise Stamp Act, Act 873 of 2013, requires manufacturers and importers to affix the stamps on the products before putting them on the market. During an unannounced inspection by the task force, a liquor and beverage shop owner at Asafo engaged in hot verbal exchanges with the task force, insisting education on the policy is scanty.
The government should educate us on how to fix the right stamps on appropriate beverage. Especially with the liquor retailers, we need thorough education on the tax stamp policy to indicate which type of stamps is fit for a particular product. We all can't use mobile phones to check the authenticity of the tax stamps.
These are imported products, and then it doesn't have a stamp on it. So these are smoked products. and then we are going to seize it, and then we look for the person who imported this product into the country. So
other infractions discovered by the task force included misapplication of the stamps and selling products without stamps fixed on them. Principal Revenue Officer Lydia Sawenim led the team.
They say we are not, the education is not enough, it's acceptable because we involve them in everything, we involve them. But if they are still complaining, fine, we've taken it in good faith. We are going to go back, re-strategize, and come back with educational again, because even this one that we are doing, we are still educating them. You remember when we went to the other shop, the lady was saying that she even didn't know the difference for the imported one and the locally manufactured one, because we saw that the imported product has been affixed with a local excise stamp, and she was saying she didn't know the difference. So even this thing that we are doing, we are still educating them.
Madam Asarenim urged consumers to insist on buying products affixed with tax stamp to ensure full compliance.
That we are pleading with the consumers to also help us, because if we are a consumer and you don't buy, the manufacturer will not produce it without affixing the stamps. So we are pleading with consumers, everybody, the media, everybody, they should upload the app and check. Even if the stamps are on it, they should check the authenticity of the stamps.
For Joy News, Nana Asansumensa, Kumasi.
And that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com. We've got the day's latest there, including some reports that Miracle wants to pull out of Ghana's power sector, following that PDS scandal. Also, big on Joy Business. The latest from the courts to do with the revocation of the license of UniCredit as well as GN Savings and Loans. You want to read all about that on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kyle. Thanks for watching. We're back same time tomorrow.